Hello, Sam-ariffic Science fans! Welcome to the third installment in the Book Rambles series, the series where I take a little break from science to talk about my favorite fantasy books. Today's series is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, as well as the Senior Year Adventures by Rick Riordan. Today, I'm going to talk about every book in these two series and rank them all from most to best. I won't be including the Heroes of Olympus series today, simply because I haven't read them yet. Oh yeah, and spoilers, obviously. Today, we're going to unfold the world of Percy Jackson. Number 7. Book 6, The Chalice of the Gods. This book is last place, but before I say anything, I want to say, I still love this book. It's much better than any other books I've had to read for school and whatnot. However, by Percy Jackson's standards, this book isn't amazing. People complain about the stakes being too low with this book, and honestly, I kinda agree. Kinda. It's not that the stakes are too low, I'm fine with just watching the characters sit back, but the problem is that the book doesn't realize it's a slower book. It tries to add stakes and adventure scenes, but it just doesn't work. The biggest example of this is the scene where they're washing Iris's staff. It tries to feel crazy, but it just isn't. I also don't like how Percy sees himself as an idiot when he isn't. And that isn't just a problem in this book. It's in book 7 too. He's constantly comparing himself to Annabeth, and I hate it. Also, the entire premise of the Senior Year Adventure books being to get recommendation letters is kinda stupid. Let's be real for a minute. Percy has saved the world for the gods, and they don't even let him go to college. However, there are good things about this book too. The characters in this book are really good. I like being introduced to Eudora, and everything involving her is so funny, like the flushing, for example. I also like Percy and Annabeth's relationship. They're finally dating after 5 books of them not realizing they're perfect for each other. I also like the amount of jokes in this book. For example, the entire scene where Percy is sneaking onto Olympus during the brunch and he's like, brunch is scary. It had me laughing so hard. But ultimately, in this book, despite the fact that it's still a good book, the cons outweigh the pros, so I'm giving this book 3 stars. Number 6. Book 4, The Battle of the Labyrinth. Okay, this is definitely a hot take, as a lot of people think this book is really good, but I beg to differ. There are 2 main things I dislike about the book. First is that it wants us to think it's a fast-paced book similar to Chalice of the Gods. But with the exception of a couple of scenes I'll mention in a minute, this book is mostly just walking through a maze with the characters not even knowing where they're going most of the time. The second thing I don't like about the book is Rachel Elizabeth Dale. She was introduced in Book 3, The Titan's Curse, but this is the book where she gets the most page time, and I kinda hate it. Her relationship with Annabeth is very negative and annoying to read about. She did have one good scene where she hit Luke's last Chronos with a plastic hairbrush, but other than that, she just annoys me. Rachel was introduced into the quest because she could see through the mist. But you know who else can see through the mist? Sally Jackson, Percy's mom, and she's a way more likable character. But this book has positives. First of all, the final battle was really well written and suspenseful, with a bunch of Cronus' army inside the magical borders of Camp Half-Blood. When Chiron gets wounded and Mr. D is preoccupied, it really feels like this could be the end, but it isn't. Several campers die, but it all works out, and at the end of the book, Nico pays a visit to Percy back home to suggest a mysterious idea. Probably the best cliffhanger in the series. Plus, this is the book where you get to learn about the Labyrinth and Diabolus himself, and the twist where Quintus turns out to actually be Diabolus is fun. Also, that one scene where they're in Alcatraz was fun because the day after, the prison was mentioned during class, and then 2 days later, after I walked into the library, I see a book on display called Escaping Alcatraz. At this point, I was just worried that something has happened and the universe is trying to tell me something. But I guess not. Ultimately, this book is a solid 3.5 stars. So I was wrong. The universe definitely is still trying to tell me something. Because look at the video that Hulk Global just posted. How to escape Alcatraz with basic engineering. Number 5. Book 7, The Wrath of the Triple Goddess. This book is also slow in some parts, but it accepts that and isn't trying to be anything more, which is nice. However, there are definitely some climactic scenes here, like when the gang summons the dead to rebuild the manse because if it's broken, Hecate will kill them. Or the fight to get Gale back from the water spirits imprisoning her. I also really like how this book is set on Halloween. That's really neat. Now, on my latest reread, it actually was the Halloween season. I also really like how the gang starts disliking the pets Gale and Hecuba, but eventually not only begin to like them, but team up with them. It's super fun. My biggest gripe with it, though, is probably how Eudora was so scared of Hecate at AHS. It is sort of annoying. The only reason this book isn't placing any higher for me on this list is because even if it accepts that it is a slower paced book, it isn't trying to be anything more. It still isn't anything more. So, The Wrath of the Triple Goddess's overall score is 3.75 stars. Number 4. Book 2, The Sea of Monsters. I have one thing to say. Tyson! Everyone's favorite Cyclops. He was introduced here in this book, and I love him. I love his relationship with Percy developing throughout the book. I love how he thought he was dead. I love everything about him. Okay, there are a few more things I want to say. I understand and enjoy how seriously it's taken that Talia's pine tree is dying, meaning the entire camp and its magical borders were dying. The Golden Fleece is very interesting too, and I like how it was able to save camp. I don't, however, love how it somehow brought Talia back. It just feels weird. I do like Talia as a character, I just wish she was brought back in a different way. Tantalus is really interesting here too. His love for Clarice makes sense, I just don't like it. I also feel like I should talk about Circe's Island. The whole turning men into guinea pigs thing was sort of funny, and it showed good resourcefulness between Annabeth and Percy as they managed to communicate and save themselves. I'm going to give this book 4 stars. Number 3. Book 1, The Lightning Thief. The main reason I love The Lightning Thief is its clever way of introducing us to the larger plot of the series. Book 1 wasn't especially involved with Kronos at all, and we only learn about him later. The main villain of this book is Ares. Book 2 is what really got us started with the Kronos plot, knowing that it was Luke who poisoned Talia's tree, attempting to bring his armies into camp. It's also when we see the Princess Andromeda for the first time. Book 1 was simple. Someone stole Zeus's Master Bolt, and he thought Poseidon put Percy up to it. Percy needs to find the Master Bolt and return it to Olympus by the summer solstice. Percy then learns Ares stole the bolt and Hades' Helm of Darkness for Kronos, and then Percy gets both items returned to Olympus in time. I also really like Grover in this book. He's so funny here. Better than in any of the other books for sure. I also like the ending with the Scorpion and Luke trying to kill Percy when the flying shoes failed. This book gets 4 stars. Number 2. Book 3, The Titan's Curse. This book had almost as many character introductions as Book 1. Zoe, Talia, Nico, Bianca, Artemis, Rachel, Atlas, and more. The book is also the book where Annabeth had the least to do because we thought she was dead for most of the book. The book also had such a good plot, trying to save Artemis while the Huntresses knew something was wrong, and also hopefully saving Annabeth. I also want to talk briefly about the moment when Percy was holding up the sky, taking a load from Artemis. That was a big character moment from him, knowing Artemis would be more useful in the fight than himself. If I were listing all the things I loved about this book, though, we'd be here all day. In the ending scene, there was a lot of characters fighting people who really meant something to them. Zoe fighting her father Atlas, and Talia fighting her old best friend Luke. This added some really beautiful depth to the series and that fight. I can't really think about anything I don't like about the Titan's Curse, except the fact that Annabeth isn't in it. This book gets 5 stars. So, there's only one book left, and if you've been paying attention, you know which one it is. A half-blood of the eldest gods shall reach 16 against all odds, to see the world in an endless sleep. A hero's soul cursed blade shall reap. A single choice to end his days, Olympus too preserve or raise. So, number 1. Book 5, The Last Olympian. This is the last book in the main series, and it delivers. Right from the first chapters, we have complete chaos, with Charles Beckendorf giving his life to destroy the Princess Andromeda. Then we figure out what Nico's plan from the last book is, for Percy to take a dip in the river Styx. This makes him invincible and ready to fight. We learn about Luke's past, meet Hestia, and then Kronos' army approaches, surrounds Manhattan and Mount Olympus. I really like learning about Luke's past here. It's really neat. Hestia is cool too. Probably my favorite Greek god. The battle is amazing as Olympus literally crumbles, campers die, the Huntresses of Artemis appear, now led by Talia, and the great prophecy comes true. All of Manhattan is asleep until it isn't, and then Paul has a great monster slang moment, and finally, by the end of the book, Kronos is dead, the Olympians return from their fight with Typhon, and things are fairly normal again. Luke, of course, switched sides at the last moment of his life, and switched sides before sacrificing himself to destroy Kronos. Selena being the spy wasn't a twist I saw coming at all, which was fun too. The gods fighting Typhon is amazing as well, and I wish we saw more of that battle in the book. But this book had a story it wanted to tell, and that wasn't it. Percy, of course, turned down minor godship, instead choosing to recognize minor gods and unclaimed demigods as his reward. Annabeth had an amazing character moment at the end of this book and with Luke, and she and Percy finally start dating. And Grover becomes a member of the Council of the Cloven Elders. This book has so much character development, and I absolutely adore it. I love when it feels like the apocalypse in a book, and this is exactly that. Kronos is at full power, the gods are busy, people are dying, and Percy pushes through. He is so different from that scared, sarcastic little kid he was 4 years ago. Ultimately, there is nothing I don't like about this shining gem of a book, and it's well deserving of number 1 and 5 stars. So, to recap, from worst to best: the Chalice of the Gods, the Battle of the Labyrinth, the Wrath of the Triple Goddess, the Sea of Monsters, the Lightning Thief, the Titan's Curse, and finally the Last Olympian. Now, I wanted to add the rankings from Goodreads to this video too, to see if my opinion lined up with my fellow Percy Jackson fans. So, from worst to best: the Wrath of the Triple Goddess, the Sea of Monsters, the Chalice of the Gods, the Lightning Thief, the Titan's Curse, the Battle of the Labyrinth, and the Last Olympian. So, that's the video. Back to normal science stuff next week. But in the meantime, let me know how you would rate the Percy Jackson books and what rankings you agree and disagree with. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching.